Hello and welcome to your own channel. Let's talk business once again. As always, I'm excited to have you here. This is the third video presentation in this series where we are talking about and covering London Matters 2020 report. In this short video presentation, we will see and talk about London's contribution to the UK GDP, numbers of jobs produced by the London insurance and reinsurance market inside and outside London, impact of London insurance and reinsurance market on economies around the world. So as always, there is a lot to know and a lot to discuss. So without waiting more, let's start talking business. For those who are new to my channel, I am Ravi Shankar. I am having more than 16 years of experience in business analysis, largely associated with P&C and general insurance domain, currently practicing in Lloyd's of London. If you have any queries related to this video presentation or my previous video presentations, do reach me at my Hotmail or LinkedIn profile. I'm also available on Twitter, so feel free to join me there. For those who are watching this video presentation first time, as I said earlier, this is the third video presentation in this series. As I said before, in this series we are discussing about the LMG's London Matters 2020 report. So this is the third report in this series. First was published in 2014, then 2017, and then finally in 2020. So the agenda of this series is mentioned here. So as I said earlier, this is the third video presentation in this series where we will largely talking about the London's contribution to the UK GDP and its impact on the global economy. In addition to that, we will also cover the global capital base and the players in London market, where we will talk about the capital that underpins the London market underwriting, looking at where in the world the capital is coming from, why do people invest in London market, and finally the form in which the capital is provided. We will also analyze the profile of the carriers writing business into the London market and how this has evolved over the period of time. Then we will also talk about the various group initiatives like modernization, business environment, talent and diversity. And finally, at the end of this series, we will talk about the other aspect of London Matters 2020 report. So let's move ahead and let's start talking business. So this is the London's contribution to the UK GDP, and it is an interesting slide, and the figures quoted here is in pound. So if you can see over here, this is a comparison between 2015 to 2018 data. So in 2015, the total contribution of London market in the UK GDP was close to 32 billion pounds, which has increased to 37 billion pounds in 2018, and this increase is a 5.6%. So if you can pay a close attention over here, the percentage of UK GDP is increased from 1.6 to 1.7%. The percentage of London GDP is increased from 7.4 to 7.7%, and finally the city GDP from 20 to 23%. So when we talk about the gross domestic product contribution, right, we consider direct GDP contribution, indirect GDP contribution, and induced GDP contribution. So you might be thinking, what is this direct, indirect, and induced GDP contribution? I will talk about it in the next slide. But before going to the next slide, let's see the key highlights from here. The London market contribution to the UK GDP has raised. We can see over here, the London contributed 37 billion pound to the UK GDP in 2018, up from 32 billion pound in 2015. The rate of growth, as I said, is 5.6 a year. Moving ahead, let's talk about what is direct, indirect, and induced GDP. So GDP stands for gross domestic product, and this is the value of goods and services delivered within the region within the specific period of time. So the direct impact include all the direct effect of the organization has on the region due to the organization operation. So say for example, London market employs a lot of staff, and its operation generate a lot of GDP within the city of London or within the UK. So this is the direct impact, because London market, they attract the premium across the world, which actually contributed to the UK or the London market gross domestic product. So the indirect impact includes the impact of the local industries buying goods and services from the other local industries. So in our case, when we talk about the London market specifically, so in order to perform their duty efficiently, in order to provide services to the client efficiently, they also need a support from lots of other professional services or industries. Say for example, they need a support from broker, lawyer, claim adjuster, technology provider. So in a way, London market is also helping these sectors to improve and deliver more services, hire more staff, and generate more revenues to the GDP contributions. Now, what is the induced effect? The people earn wages that are then sent to the other things like entertainment, healthcare, and so forth. So the people employed by London market or maybe by its supplier, they earn wages and they spend the wages in buying goods and entertainment, and this money will be indirectly getting fueled into the economy again. Add together all these three effects, direct, indirect, and induced, comprise the total economic impact of the company or the sector within a specific period of time. So this is about the direct impact, the indirect impact, and the induced impact to the overall GDP. Let's move ahead. The London market is a major UK employer, employing approximately 47,000 people across the UK, while around 2/3 of these jobs, which is approximately 32,000, are in London, whereas 15,000 are based outside the capital. So you can see over here, the contribution of the job within the city of London stays same, 68%, and other regions has slightly fluctuated. That said, that the number of people employed by the sector fell between 2015 to 2018 as a result of the consolidation that took place in the sector over this period. Further reduction has been made as the company adopted new technology and outsourced back office functions, which improved efficiency and productivity at the expense of some jobs. So it has gone down from 52,000 jobs in 2015 to 47,000 jobs in 2018, largely because of adoption of advanced technology and outsourcing some of the back office operations, which has improved their overall efficiency. Going ahead, let's talk about the impact of London market into the economies across the world. The London market paid 68% more in claims in 2018 than in 2015. If you can see over here, in 2018 the London market paid claims approximately $20 billion. 2014 it was $90 billion, but if you can see over here, from 2016 to 2018 it is continuously increasing. 2016 it paid $21 billion US in terms of claim, $28 billion in 2017, whereas in 2018 London market paid $32 billion US in terms of claims. This report estimated that the London market claim payment have resulted in $181 billion US of economic impact across the world since 2015. So let's move ahead and see how the London is impacting the other economies. So as I said earlier, the London market claim payment have resulted $181 billion US across the world, in which $48 billion worth of economic impact was made on Northern America, whereas $13 billion in Latin and Caribbean. Europe is large, $79 billion economic impact, whereas Middle East is $6 billion and Asia Pacific is $35 billion worth of economic impact, which is total of $181 billion US economic impact across the globe. Going forward, so before starting to understand this slide, let's just recall when the Caribbean was hit by Hurricane Irma in the summer of 2017 and how devastating it was, in order to better understand the impact of London insurance and reinsurance market in the people's lives across the world.
Irma made landfall on the southern shores of Florida early on Sunday evening. As it approached the state, it increased in strength and changed direction. Miami was spared a direct hit. The Florida Keys were hit hard, though, with winds of 130 miles per hour. As she progressed, she gradually downgraded to a Category 1 storm with winds of 75 miles per hour as it moves along Florida's west coast. By the morning, the centre of the storm was about 60 miles north of Tampa, moving north towards Georgia and weakening into a tropical storm. Before Florida, Cuba took a battering. It proved to be a cruel few hours for the island. Not only did Irma change track to smash into the northern coast, she also suddenly gained strength as well. 170 mile per hour winds and heavy rain caused havoc.
So that is kind of a devastating effect of Hurricane Irma. The claim team in London put in place plans to respond quickly, offer advance payment, provide services and support to the policyholders. They hired charter planes to fly in generators and fuel for the local residents to resume their life as soon as possible. However, the report also shows that there was some frustration with the London claim processes, particularly with regard to the time and the complexity involved in paying small and less complex claims. Client feedback also noted that the policyholder and the broker often cannot track the progress of their claim after the notification because of the complex and sometimes idiosyncratic processes. In contrast, many local insurance provided online portals, SMS services, online tracking so that the policyholder can track their claim on the real-time basis. Since 2018, the London market has taken steps to simplify the claim processes. This has streamlined the way the smaller and less complex claims are dealt with, speeding up the decision-making process and overall making the payment more efficiently and better on time. Current London market and Lloyd's initiative like Claim Solution under the Future of Lloyd's program are addressing these. These include streamlining agreement and automating the processes, instant payment, loss prevention advice, one-touch notification, and real-time loss assessment. Well, that's all from today's video presentation, and I hope you have gained some knowledge from today's session. Thanks for your valuable time. Goodbye and take very good care of yourself. Bye, and I will see you soon with the next video presentation in this series. Bye bye and take care.